Hi, and welcome back to Ask the Trade Pros, a show where a couple of trade guys talk about all kinds of random stuff, including trade stuff. We're here to answer your questions about HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and any other home system so that you can keep your house running smoothly. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Todd.
Today we've got a question from Terry. She writes, in previous episodes, you said that the more information you can give when calling your trade pro, the better. Are certain types of information better than others? And if so, what do you find is most helpful when figuring out problems?
Thanks for the question, Terry. It's true. The more you can tell your trade pro when you call, the more likely that they'll be able to figure out what's going on. But there are definitely some things that make our jobs a lot easier if we know about it as soon as possible.
I guess it would start with kind of how much knowledge you have. Anytime you can tell them more, we allow people to send pictures, all that stuff, it's all better. But try your best to describe exactly what you're looking at or what you've seen of the problem. What I've found that includes day, time, random situations, occurrences. Is it raining outside? Did it suddenly get cold? Did something change in your house? Did you have guests over? There's a lot of random information that you won't necessarily think is relevant, and oftentimes some people calling feel like they're babbling, but we can decode that information. And people call up all the time with that, that thingamajigga, that's this thing on the wall, that weird thing that with the something or another. Oftentimes we can take that information and decode it into useful information when we're preparing the technician for his arrival.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I would just add a little bit to that whoever's at your house, the trade pro that's at your house, they should also know what questions to ask depending on the problem. Electrical, plumbing, HVAC, whoever that technician is, there's going to be certain indicators or issues that may mean one thing or cause them to go in one direction or the other. So depending on what the issue is, you always want to be detailed and, like Jordan said, what happened, when it happened, and the technician should be able to go from there. So the more information, the better. I've had many of electrical's probably one of the worst ones. So you go to a house and their power's out. I had one customer, I start testing everything, half the house is out of power. I'm asking questions, not really getting a good answer of when it happened, what was being used when it happened, and then all of a sudden she says, oh, well, I had a space heater plugged into this outlet here. Well, where do you think the problem is? So it's asking the questions and getting them to give you the information before you start work and waste too much time. In that case, I don't know, maybe she was busy or not thinking, but...
Well, electrical happens a lot, you're right. We get people that will plug into kitchen appliances and blow a circuit and just say they plug something in the outlet and now it doesn't work. And then by the time we got there, they've put one of them away or not using it because the outlet doesn't work. So the machines aren't there and they're like, the outlet doesn't work, and we reset the breaker or retrip it and it works perfectly fine. And then, nobody wants to admit, oh, well, I plugged, the blender into this one and the air fryer into this one and it popped, or I had the vacuum and my hairdryer going at the same time, or we've had a lot of those ones where people do that kind of thing.
Yeah, and the same for plumbing. You should know what you're flushing down your toilet, right? I mean...
No, you don't. We just got one today. What, a shaving cream can down the toilet?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, at least he provided the information, right? He said, I think I accidentally got busy and dropped the shaving cream can down my toilet. Now it won't clear. But I mean, in that case, the information was relevant because you knew what was in the toilet. It wasn't just a clogged toilet. There's a metal canister in the middle of it.
Well, that'd be a good one. I'd like to see that toilet that you can flush a shaving cream can down.
He bought a high-end Toto toilet. But yeah, the more information, the difference, right? Like Todd's right. So on plumbing, you got a clogged drain. That's one thing. You have a clogged drain because you dropped a plastic toy. Your kid dropped a plastic toy. Well, that's a lot different thing to clear out. It's a lot more difficult to snake, or you have to have the right bit on the snake, et cetera. So any information, even when you don't think it's relevant, we do air conditioners a lot. And I'll get customers that say it keeps popping a breaker, and we go there, it works just fine. But it pops the breaker at a specific time of the day, which either it's the afternoon when it's hot here, or it's when the heat strips pop on, or something specific happens at that time of day that doesn't happen at all the other times of day. So even little information like that could be relevant, whether it happened at 7 a.m. versus 3 p.m.
Yeah, always you want to give the most detailed information, timing, what occurred, what was happening. It doesn't matter if HVAC, electrical, plumbing, any of the trades. Just be as detailed and be honest, most importantly. A lot of times, like Jordan was just saying, people don't want to admit that the things that they put down their drain or what they tried doing to fix the problem themselves. We have it with plumbing a lot.
We get a lot of times when
Yeah.
people will claim their handyman was out there
Yeah.
firsthand, which wasn't true. But at least if you could spend 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours looking for a problem without that information, and it's billable time. So I guess that kind of
Yeah, because ultimately you're paying for it. So being upfront and honest and saying, hey, I tried doing this. This is what happened. You're going to save the technician a lot of time giving those details and solve the problem in a quick and timely manner.
Yeah, we just had one the other day where it was a water leak, and the gentleman said, hey, it's leaking water. And then he said, well, about a year ago, I changed the part out in here, so it's leaking water from where I changed the part. That went from a whole water leak detection down the wall, cutting a wall open, looking for leaks, having to replace drywall, all that, to knowing, oh, well, it's just a cartridge that you didn't change, or that wore out or went bad or something that you put in. And that's, difference from a few $1,000 repair to a few $100 repair. So details like that, even details where you use, even who's in the house. Sometimes if you have 4 people in the house and you're using something, it might be different. But people they focus only on the item right in front of them. I mean, even surrounding details are very important.
Absolutely. Of course, your local trusted trade pro might need different information depending on what they're doing. So always check with them when you call.
Thank you for listening to Ask the Trade Pros. We release new episodes every other Tuesday, so be sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. If you have a question you would like us to answer on the show, please leave us a voicemail or an email, and we may feature your question in an upcoming episode. That information is in the show notes. This podcast is sponsored by the good folks at Done Right Services. As always, thank you for your support.